Whosoever watches this video, if he be worthy, shall watch the unboxing of Thor on Rip It Open with Newman. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host Newman, and today we'll be unboxing Thor from Mafex Toys. Created in 1962 by Stan Lee, Larry Lieber, and Jack Kirby, Thor, the Norse god of thunder, has been an Avengers mainstay since its incarnation. Possessing great strength, speed, stamina, and invulnerability, Thor Odinson has become the champion of Earth, aka Midgard. Hailing from Asgard, he is the first son of the Nine Realms and possesses Mjolnir, a mystic hammer capable of conjuring all manner of lightning, thunder, and storm. So today we're going to be rounding out our Avengers display with a Thor figure from Mafex Toys. I initially bought a Marvel Legends Ragnarok figure with the intention of using that as my Thor display, but what I didn't realize was that Thor had red eyes, and I definitely can't use that because it makes him look super evil. The robotic hand I could have discarded because it came with a regular replacement hand, but those eyes I could not do anything about. So I went with Mafex. So first thing, we're going to go ahead and look at the packaging. Here is the front of the box. Looking real nice, very classic Marvel. Almost ashamed to throw it away, but I will. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the first side. It's a nice image of the figure. And we're going to go ahead and turn it to the back. There's some nice photography of the figure again with all of his accessories. And lastly, we're going to look at the final side, which is another image of Thor in flight. Alright, let's not waste any more time. Let's get up close and personal. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and get this thing out of this package. Break out the trusty knife. Unpacky. Here's the certificate of authenticity. Alright. Nicely secured, that's good. Let's break this figure out. And on a first glance, he's looking pretty good. Very classic Thor. First we're going to get these plastic bits out of his armpits. There we go. And as I was saying, very classic Thor. The painting is very nice. Sculpting detail is very good. The musculature is very well defined. No paint slop, nothing of that nature. Got a nice satin fabric cape. That's good. The hair is pretty rigid, as are the wings up top. There's a wire along the edges of the cape, so it'll make some nice lying poses. Overall, a very good looking figure. It's very nice. Very classic Thor. So let's hope the function matches the form. Let's go ahead and go over this articulation. Let's start with the head. So the hair actually greatly restricts it. Oop, and it popped right off. That's unfortunate. Let's get that back on there if I can. Alright, there we go. Yeah, so that's unfortunate. Wish the plastic for the hair was a little better. Okay, so arms go up about that high. That's good. We got a twist at the bicep, left and right. Alright, and we got some butterflies in the shoulders. Those are very nice. We're going to be able to get some really good poses out of that. Alright, let's check the elbows. We got a double joint at the elbow. Very good. Check the other one. Another double joint at the elbow. Very nice. Alright, let's check the wrists. Alright, they go all the way around and they flex back and forth. Very good. Alright, the left arm is good as well. Back and forth, all the way around. Perfect. We've got a ab crunch, which is really good. That's nice. Very good, very good. Alright, that goes all the way down. That's great. That's fantastic. Got a twist, which is really nice as well. He can't really do the splits, but he can do about that far. Let's check out the knees. Got a double joint at the knee. Right leg is good. Let's go ahead and test the left. Left is also good. Very nice. All right. And no cut at the boot. That's fine. We don't really need it. Twist at the hip. That's nice. I believe these are drop down legs, so that's good. And we've got articulation in the ankle. Those are good. And in the toe, which I don't really care for because they always tend to get a little loose. But it is what it is. Now back to the ankles, it looks like they've got a really good ankle pivot, so fantastic. I kind of would not expect anything less from Mafex. They've got really good articulation in their figures. Alright, let's go ahead and get him in a couple of poses. Let's get him into a nice fighting stance. my favorite first pose for every figure I review or play with in general. All right, looking nice. He's ready to square up. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump to these accessories. So let's check out the extra head. We've got a grimacing head, which is nice. You know, still gonna have the same issues as the other head with that hair. We've got some gripping fists right here. Looking good. Some grappling hands right here. Very nice. We've got some splayed hands. I don't know, I guess that's a slapping hand. We've got some relaxed hands right here. Certainly a lot of hands with these Mafex figures. Maybe a little too much. We've got some splayed jazz hands. Okay. And we've got some hands with the attached handle of Thor's hammer, which is nice. One for each hand, so, you know, you can double fist. And we've got Meow Meow. Looking good. It's pretty basic, not too complicated, just right. It looks like Meow Meow. Alright, we've got some more fists with the handle attached for flying. One for each hand, so, you know, you can be a righty or a lefty. And here we've got a smaller size Mjolnir that he can attach at his hip, it looks like. Let's go ahead and get this plastic off of here, and we're going to take a look at the rest of the accessories underneath. Alright, now this looks like some part of the figure stand. But here we go, we've got a spinning effect for Mjolnir. That looks really nice. It's very sturdy. It's got a little bit of a weight to it. This looks really good. You can see that one of the hammers is completely solid, whereas the other ones vary in color. So it, you know, it looks like it's spinning. Here we got a piece to the stand, a couple more pieces, even more pieces, and one more piece for the stand. And here's the stand. Now, I'm not a big fan of these Mafex stands. I think they're a little flimsy, so I probably won't use it. I may get another one from another company. But let's get back to the figure. Let's go ahead and pop this head off and get the grimacing head on. And it's a little more difficult than I would like. I've actually cut out quite a bit of me struggling to get this head on, but the hair just completely gets in the way. And the ball joint is so small that it takes a little bit of working. So I don't think I'll be swapping heads too much. So now we're going to go through a few of these extra hands. We're not going to go through all of them, just the ones that really matter. So let's try the gripping hand. We're going to go ahead and get Mjolnir in here. So we can't go that way, so we're going to have to slide it in from the bottom up. And it is an extremely tight fit. It's extremely tight and pretty difficult. So this probably needs to be heated up. The fist, I mean. The handle for the hammer is actually pretty pliable, which I'm glad because it could easily snap trying to get this thing in here. So I'm actually glad that it's pretty pliable. I had an issue with the Mezco Bishop and his side knife, his dagger, being way too rigid, and it snapped on me. So I'm glad that the handle is pretty pliable. Now, you know, it took some working, but I got it in there. So there we go. You know what? I mean, it's so much work, I may just go ahead and leave this handle in that hand like that. I don't really feel like taking it out again. Let's go ahead and get him into some nice poses. Look at that. All right, now that's Thor. That looks good. Very, very nice. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and switch this out, and now we're going to use that spinning effect. So let me get a proper gripping fist for it. And there we go. Okie dokie. Alright, so let's get this thing in here. I'm slightly concerned that the spinning effect might be a little too heavy. Yeah, because see, look, I just popped this arm right out of there. Like, the articulation on this figure is great. Unfortunately, it's a little too pliable. So let's see if this is going to support the weight. No, okay, hand came right off. That's not great. All right, let's go ahead and just leave it on there, and right, let's take a look. Yep, it's too heavy. Yep, it's way too heavy. That is unfortunate. Now I see why there are all those extra things to those stands. The figure needs it in order to support the weight of this effect. Yeah, and see, the arm just came out right again. Yeesh. All right, that's not great. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's try something else. Let's try it like this, but that doesn't look right. Okay, so like this, all right, where it's spinning in front of him, this looks pretty good. That looks excellent. But I don't know if I would be able to display it like this without it eventually taking a tumble. This figure is definitely going to need some extra support when I display it. It can't be freestanding, which is unfortunate because it's a great looking figure with some great articulation. But look at that, it's oof. I wonder if there would have been a way to make this spinning effect hollow, as opposed to solid plastic to kind of cut back on the weight. This is me Monday morning quarterbacking, so it was probably more financially feasible to just have it solid and give some extra parts to the figure stand. It is what it is, unfortunately. Let's go ahead and try some other hands. So we're going to try the flying hand with the handle. All right. I didn't mention it before, but the hammerhead on Mjolnir can actually detach and attach to any of the spare hammer handles. All right, let's get them into a nice pose, which is going to be very easy because the posing is very fluid on this figure. All right, let's take a look. All right, that looks pretty good. Now, see, it's unfortunate about that head sculpt. That hair is just getting in the way of him looking up. So we're probably gonna just have to rely on the ab crunch to get him more upright, to have him looking up. But that negative aside, you can get some really good flying poses with him. This looks good, except for that head. So let's go ahead and take this off and get him back to his default hands. We are going to go ahead and look at the other Mjolnir accessory, the one that goes on his belt, the smaller version of it. Again, I'm not really reading any instructions. I like to fumble my way through things just to see how intuitive the designs are. And okay, looks like the hammerhead comes off of this one as well. I don't know if I would need it to for any particular reason. So it looks like it should be going in this way. If I can get it right into his belt. And hopefully not scratch the gold paint that's on the side of the yellow belt. And, alright, there we go. Okay. Looks good. Alright, great. Kind of gives me, let's get that back on. The limbs come off just a little too easily for my taste with this figure. But I think that's just sort of a Mafex thing. So having this little Mjolnir on his belt, it gives me He-Man vibes of how the sword just sort of magically shrunk when he put it behind his back as Prince Adam. And then all of a sudden it was full size once he's He-Man. But you know, suspension of disbelief. This could actually be another great way to pose the figure on your shelf. I think it looks good like that. Now, speaking of posing, let's go ahead and take a look at this bad boy. Again, I've said before, I'm not a big fan of the Mafex posing arms and stands. They're always just a little too weak for my taste. Now, I know the Mafex figures are generally a little lighter than your average figure, so the joints on the stand can afford to be a little looser, I suppose. But again, I think they're just a little too loose. Let's take a look at this. I have no idea what this piece is for. It looks like it, and that comes out. It looks like it could be some sort of stand for his hammer when you're posing him.
Yep.
I'm not entirely sure. This is probably a good time to read the instructions, but I'm still not going to. Alright, so this looks like it's another spare arm. Let's See if I can figure out how to get it together. Looks like that might be a middle piece. And now we've got this. Let's see what we're doing here. Well, if it fits. I mean, that's something. Probably not right. Doesn't look right. Goes in that way? Maybe? No? Maybe not? Yeah. Alright. So that definitely fits in there. Let's just take a look at this stand. Does that fit in there? No. That's too loose. Now that fits in there. I'm sure this is completely wrong. But, that's the fun of toys. You can kind of like do whatever you want. It's your imagination. Alright, so let's go ahead and get him in the gripping thing. Okay, so it holds him up pretty well. That's fine. Let's see if we can somehow finagle this into holding the spinning effect as well. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do this. It's a little tricky, especially when you're doing this from behind a camera. If you decide to pick up this figure, or if you've already picked up this figure, I'm sure you'll probably have a little bit more success than me. Oof. Okay, maybe that arm isn't sturdy enough to hold him up. Yeah, see? Not a fan of these Mafex stands. Alright, let's see if I can get this spinning effect attached again. Wow. Wowee. This is a journey, let me tell you. Alright, let's see if I can get this on there. What am I doing? What am I doing? In general, what are we all doing? Okay, alright, there we go. That's something. That is something, but it's not really holding it. I mean, I guess I wouldn't even really need that extra stand there because it's not even touching the spinning effect. Whatever. It's there. There we go. That's something. Look. Okay, moving on. I'm going to go ahead and try something a little different. See if this works out for me. I mean, see, I don't know. You kind of get it up there. That looks better than what was there before, I guess. I don't know. Again, I probably am just going to dispose of this displayer and buy a sturdier one. Because, I don't know, it ain't really doing it for me. So now let's go ahead and try a standing position for this figure without the use of the stand. And, it's a struggle, but we can get there. Now let's do a size comparison. There we go. We got our Diamond Select Immortal Hulk here. So again, I'm building a OG Avengers display. So Hulk is going to be a part of it, as well as Thor, obviously. So just going to pair them up just to see how they look side by side. And, it looks good. I do like the size difference between the two. It might be a little too big. It does have me slightly concerned about the size of the Ant-Man and Wasp that's coming out. I wonder if they're all going to work together. Hopefully they do. Let's take that away. And compare him with the Thor Ragnarok, which I was talking about earlier in the intro. The original figure that I wanted to use as my Thor piece for my Avengers display. Obviously the issue being that both heads have red eyes, which is super unfortunate. You can see that they look very similar. There's a little more detailing in the musculature for the Marvel Legends one, some more paint detailing, and it's slightly larger than the Mafex. Mafex also generally has, they have relatively flat paint for their figures, and not a lot of airbrushing or smaller paint detail. It's not a knock, just sort of a stylistic choice that I've noticed with these Mafex figures. Although I do really like the sculpts that Mafex uses. I think they have some of the best sculpting in the the 1/12 figure range. All right, let's get him into a flying position. So we're gonna swap out that hand with the flying Mjolnir again, and look at that. That looks good. That looks a lot better than the previous pose because he's more upright. That looks really nice. Very comic booky. Very Thor. The lack of head articulation doesn't really bother me in this particular pose. So you can get there, some good poses, without having all of that range of movement in the neck. It could still be fine. So let's try one of the other hand accessories, which has him gripping the strap of Mjolnir. And now I think this particular fist only looks good in certain positions, mostly when it's flying back like this. As you can see, if it's just upright, it doesn't really make any sense because he's gripping it by the strap. So why is Mjolnir upright? So like when he's taking a swing, that's when it looks good. That's a good utilization of this particular hand and handle sculpt. All right, that looks good. All right, let's get back to this because this is bugging me. I really want to make it work because I think this is an excellent effect. Honestly, this might work a little bit better if you have a Thor figure with a sturdier arm, but I'm just gonna give it a go again because I'm a glutton for punishment. Right, let's get that in there. See, it's just too heavy. That's very unfortunate. This is where you really need a stand to support it. But I mean, it looks good. It looks good in practice. I'm just gonna give it a go again, just to see what I can do with this. And it is just not cooperating with me. Again, I would probably have more success if I wasn't doing this in front of a camera. So let's get this out of here. Enough of that. I'm suitably frustrated with that. let's end this on a high note, not a frustrating note. All right. I mean, all in all, this is a good looking figure. You can get some great poses out of him. Everything's nice and clean. It looks good. It feels good. It's a pretty decent figure. Negatives aside. Okay, so final thoughts. I think this is an okay figure. I really like the sculpt of the figure. The paintwork is very good, very clean, no slop. Articulation is excellent. The cape is very nice. It feels very high end. The accessories are fantastic. You get quite a bit of bang for your buck as far as accessories. Negatives being, ironically, articulation as well. It's a little loose. It's not super loose, but unfortunately the limbs pop out just a little too easily, and that spinning effect, the figure cannot support it whatsoever without additional assistance. Also, that head sculpt, you can't turn that head for anything. Up, down, left, right, it's all very restricted. And it is not easy getting those heads onto that peg. I do like this figure, but I wonder if the price point is warranted. I mean, I've seen similar sculpts in Marvel Legends, and similar posability, to be perfectly honest. So I wonder if you're really just paying, what, an extra $70 for accessories? Now, by all means, I am not an expert, and this may just be my personal opinion. And maybe, Mafex just isn't like my go-to brand for figure. I'm sure a lot of people really enjoy this brand, and I can see why. It's good. It has a ton of things going for it, and I can see why a bunch of people love it. However, my experience is more mixed leaning to positive, not to negative, but more mixed. In the Mafex versus Mezco, I think I lean a little more towards Mezco, just for the soft goods and the stronger articulation. Stronger, I mean like the joints are a lot tighter. I don't feel like they're going to fall out on me. It really just comes down to personal preference. I'd recommend the figure if you're already a Mafex fan, but if you're not, honestly, I think you could find a suitable Thor figure for a lot cheaper price from another toy company. Mafex, you did okay. You get a smiley face. Okay, so that's pretty much going to wrap everything up. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Ring the bell for notifications, and I will check you later.